Welcome to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Ask Me Anything. Today is January 29th, 2026. I'm spiritual medium, psychotherapist, and author Kellee White. So welcome, everybody. Let me say hi to a few people, and I have a lot to talk about per usual. So let's see. Oh, hi, Janet. Janet says, will there be a time when we all live together on a new earth? I'm going to say yes to that. I probably won't be here to enjoy that. I'll be watching from above, like many of us. But the whole point now is just plant the seeds of light for that to happen. So, yes, there will definitely be a new earth. I agree with that statement. Mrs. Shai Pono, she said, my mother recently passed away. I'm sorry. She said, I believe I've had a sign from her, which they do love to give us signs if we pay attention. I was singing a song, she says, back to life, back to reality. As I exited the kitchen, my phone started playing what I had put on a Facebook, a happy tune. Isn't that great? That's definitely a sign from your mom. They love to let us know that they're right there. Often what they say to me when I'm in a session, the first thing often that'll come out is, I'm not dead. I didn't die. I'm very much alive. So always know that, everybody. Hi, Melissa. She says, is it true? While we do not explicitly analyze scientific studies of near-death experiences, we frequently discuss the concept. Yes, that's true. And I will talk a little bit about the scientific world in that. You know, it's a duality thing. So we'll talk about that. Hi, Dee Dee from Chicago. I love watching and listening to near-death experiences. They are fascinating, right? Fascinating. And how the majority have so many similarities, and we're going to talk about that tonight. I am staying warm. I appreciate that. Did get stuck, not by ice. We got stuck in ice. We got stuck in ice, and Dawn had to dig us out. That's right, in our front yard, in our front driveway. Actually, we had quite a week. But it looks like it's starting to get a little warmer, sunnier. It's like 5 degrees as opposed to minus 25. So I take that for a win. Anyway, I think I'm just getting used to the Midwest. I'll tell you what, though, when we got stuck the other day in ice, it was the damnedest thing. Wisconsin people are so nice. They're so kind. A man just pulled up out of the blue, and he gets out of his truck, and he said, can I help you? And it was just so Midwestern friendly. They're so friendly. It's so nice, so helpful. So I just really wanted to let everybody know that there are some good, kind people out there, lots of them. We have to keep showing up. Okay, hi, Gabriel. She says, Kellee, comforting to be here with you. Oh, thank you. Sending love from frozen New York. Yeah, you guys, New York City, you guys got really hit. Leslie, she says, hope you're staying warm. Another snowstorm. Yeah, if you're in Chicago, there is that lake effect going on. My sister, who has a house in Tybee Island, said that it's like either light snows coming in there or really, really cold. That's in like Georgia. Amazing. Okay, Leslie says, Kellee, don't we have 3 exits from here? Is that what they consider near death? So some people have 3 exit points, and we'll talk a little bit about what an exit point is. I mean, an exit point is before we incarnate, we plan many things, including our exit points. We do plan our exit points. We plan our entry and our exit. Intro and extra or outro. Now, how that works is you may not take the first exit point. You may not take and it may be more than 3. I swear to God, my dad must have had 15. It was unbelievable. I don't know how he survived everything that he survived. So it's not just a hard number of 3. It can be 1 exit point. It could be several. It could be whatever. So, but we'll get into that. And that doesn't mean that they were near-death experiences. It means that they may have had a near-death experience when they nearly died, or maybe they missed that. So it's complicated. It's complicated. Hi, Snowy Owl, Michelle. So Michelle says, as our souls pick when we choose to come into this world, Michelle, we're on the same page here as usual. Yes. Do the souls already know when they're going to exit? You know, we do choose that period. And again, we have different exit points. We may not choose the first one, but we maybe our second one is our only option to go. So that might be it too. You know, again, it's a complicated, it's between the soul and the contract. So, and God, as I like to say with that one. And also, Michelle, I don't want to forget this, but I know you're going to be doing a meditation live on Facebook Sunday. I think it's at 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time. Would you put that up so people, if they wanted to join it, it's such a great service that you do. And this Sunday, we're going to be talking about this full moon. So I'm going to talk about this in just a minute. But that Sunday, Michelle, would be a great day for meditation. So if you could put how people could find you for that, because I did it with you about 2 weeks ago. That was fantastic. Still thinking about it. It was really good, honey. Okay, Renee Rossiter, happy birthday to you, Renee. Happy birthday. She said, today's an inspiring energy. It is an inspiring energy today. And today is a Jack of Clubs day, and it's your birthday, right real close to that full moon. And I did get your question, and we are going to talk about that, Renee, and I am going to get you a card for your birthday. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do it right now, since I have right in front of me the angel cards is what I'm going to use today. And we're going to do things a little different, kind of spur the moment plans. But here we go, Renee. This is for you, sweetheart, for your birthday. I got chills. This is like so perfect. Infinity. You are limitless. Infinity. How great is that for your birthday? Special year for you. So, and hi, Stacy. Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh. I want to talk about this new moon that we have coming up before I get into the near-death experience, because this is a really important full moon. It's extremely important. And next week I'll be covering all of February for the astrology. And if you go to my website and you sign up for the free newsletter, I already have it done, and the newsletter went out. But I will say this about February: buckle up. It is a large month, and it starts with several planets that we have right now in Capricorn. I'm talking Vedic astrology. Several planets in Capricorn the first half of the month, and then said planets will be in Aquarius the second part of the month. And Aquarius is all about humanity. So I really feel that humanity is going to really kick in during this period. This is quite a time period that we're in, quite a timeline. So, but I want to talk about this February 1st, this Sunday. We have a full moon in Vedic astrology. It's in Cancer at 18 degrees in the nakshatra Aslesha. Now, I also made a small video that will be coming out tomorrow to tell you all the things to do during this full moon. So it's packed. I've got like 7 things for everybody to do. So you keep an eye out for that. It'll be on social media, but keep an eye out for that. Interesting enough for me, I was born with my natal chart, my Vedic natal chart. I was born with my moon is in Cancer at 18 degrees in the nakshatra Aslesha. So what does that mean for me this Sunday? Probably a lot. I'll probably be an emotional heap. Get ready, Dawn. It's probably going to be quite a time, because this full moon is very powerful. It opposes this Capricorn stellium, all these planets in Capricorn, and that creates this really powerful axis, if you will, of tension between home and emotions and career and duty. And we have currently Pluto, Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury all in Capricorn during this full moon. So also Mars is exalted in Capricorn, which means it's at its strongest position. So that could be a potential trigger for events. Full moons in general, they highlight situations that make situations clear for us, okay? But because Cancer is ruled by the moon, this lunar energy is magnified, and it makes this period highly sensitive, highly emotional, and quite intuitive. Now, for all my empaths out there, which is probably all of you, this is a very important time. It's a time of shedding, because this nakshatra Aslesha is what I was born with. So I know this one really well. It's intense, and it's known, excuse me, as a Gandanta nakshatra. Now, you've heard me talk about Gandanta, which is the bridge between water and fire. So this is a bridge between Cancer, water, which is Cancer, and fire. The next one is Leo. So it makes it a point of deep spiritual and karmic transformation. I think this is why when I had my head injury, I went into this Kundalini effect that changed my life. I'm sure it was because of this nakshatra. Aslesha is called the coiled serpent. So it's Kundalini energy, and it's ruled by what's called the Nagas, the serpent deities, and they're associated with mystical insight. Hello. And regeneration, so you can redo yourself. And serpents that represent wisdom, transformation. This is what this is all about. Hidden knowledge and healing. So this full moon that I'm talking about, this is really a time to do your inner work. You've heard me say this before. This really takes you down the road to do it. It's all about self-reflection, going deep within. This is not surface level. This is not surface level anything. This, you've heard the term probably doing your shadow work. This really is looking at, parts of you that you may not like. Oh, well, you're human. Just literally, everybody's having a human experience here. Really allow yourself at this time period, especially on Sunday, to go inward with this, because it's at a Gandanta nakshatra. This full moon can actually be for you a karmic turning point. I remember when I had my traumatic brain injury, that it was a turning point for me. Everything changed. Now, I'm not suggesting that has to happen here at all, but it is a really good time to consciously look at your life, because this can bring a situation to a head maybe that demands that you resolve some deep-seated, if you will, karmic pattern or some emotional knot that's been present for a long time for you. So themes will revolve around transformation, hidden wisdom, intense emotional revelations, and psychological insight. It also will bring out deep intuition. So if you've been afraid or you haven't trusted yourself, get a little deeper about why, and then start shedding that, and then start trusting and believing yourself. Okay, so go ahead and put your crystals out for clearing and for cleaning. This is a fantastic night for doing deep cleansing and rebooting your crystals, especially those heavy duty crystals that, like you may have carried around in your purse, or you've carried around for grounding, or the ones that you've really put a lot of energy into. The perfect time to be clearing these crystals, because this full moon in this nakshatra Aslesha, you have to, because of it, you have to be intentional about asking the moon, if you will, to shed this old energy. So you have to put some consciousness into it. So when you put the crystals out, do it with a consciousness of deep clearing for yourself, okay? So this is a very powerful full moon. And again, look at my social media for some tips that I have to go through and to do on Sunday. And again, Michelle, I think that you're doing a meditation. That day is just perfect and profound and perfect. So let's talk about near-death experiences. So what do they teach us about life? What do they teach us about death? What do they teach us about the soul? A lot. And this has been a profound subject that has been reported by people who've been on the brink of death, like let's say during a cardiac arrest or a severe trauma will do this, or in a coma, or in situations where clinical death has occurred. So often they're out-of-body experiences, and often you might hear them, I passed through a tunnel or a void, or often you will find some of the similarities are meeting deceased loved ones or other spiritual beings. Or you might have a life review. But they're profound psychological events that when they occur to people that are close in death or in situations of intense physical or emotional danger, and scientists and spiritualists may debate all of this, okay? But the interesting part about a near-death experience is no matter what the culture is, it's remarkably consistent, okay? Now, I had a near-death experience when I was 3 years old. I actually write about it in my book, Cracked Open. And I had not a traumatic brain injury. I had encephalitis, which is inflammation of the brain. And I was in a coma in the hospital, and I left my body. And I found myself trying to get in. I don't know. I went through some sort of light, but really for me, it was this kind of opening, and they would not allow me in. And I tried to push my way in, and I knew that I could have, but I had two, I'll call them ants, that were waiting for me. Now, I didn't know the term ants because I don't think I even had ants, but there were ants there, like great ants, we'll call them. And they said, you can't stay because your mother won't be able to do her work, that you've got to go back, that you will affect her destiny. Now I was 3, and I always reference this. My undergrad was a child development. So I would understand that a 3-year-old probably wouldn't understand that, except that I understood very well, and I retained that my entire life. And I could look at it now as if it just happened. So it was that's the kind of profound experience that a near-death experience will happen. Now, when I had my traumatic brain injury, I did not have a near-death experience. I could have died, but I didn't. I started seeing dead people, but I never had a near-death experience. The only near-death experience I had, which was plenty, was when I was 3. And so what happens, the lessons when we have a near-death experience is sometimes it will happen to people. Like, why does it happen to this person and not this person? Why did it happen? Sometimes it happens to I'm going to get into it, but some real non-believers that really needed some sort of a spiritual awakening to get them on the right track. But there are a lot of lessons about death when somebody has a near-death experience. And almost consistently across the board is that fear dissolves. There's no fear. Once you experience a near-death experience, you understand there's no such thing as death. You just were on the other side. You understand it very clearly. And nobody is going to change your mind on that. I don't care what naysayer says what, it really wouldn't matter. It is literally what happens is there is, with the person that had this, a radical shift in how they view death. I have a client who had a boyfriend who had COVID, and he ended up in Los Angeles, and he ended up in the hospital, and he ended up in a coma for 3 months. And it's amazing that he lived. But he did. And when he came out, he said to her, one of the first things he said to her was, and he was not this way at all. In fact, if anything, this guy was just not like this at all. It was really life-changing. He said to his girlfriend, I saw Jesus. Do you believe me? He saved my life. He told me it wasn't my time to die. And of course she believed him because it was the truth. And it did change his life. And so he may have been somebody that has had this experience so he could tell others. I think he had such embarrassment over what had happened because that male ego kind of got in the way there. But she's helped him a lot with that. And he will tell people on occasion. Not everybody comes out like going, oh my God, look what happened. I do. I can't help it. But a lot of people don't. I think they're so either in awe, they want to keep it private, they're in shock, they don't know if people will believe them, they don't know. But it does change their life. And what happens is they realize that death is not an end, but it's a transition. So that is it. Almost immediately they start to change. So that's a good thing. Another thing that comes from a near-death experience is you understand that it's painless and peaceful. So there's not a violent struggle that goes on. It's literally peaceful. It's just peaceful. And some people that near-death experiences will use the word, I felt like liberated, or I felt I was home, because they were. They were. Another component of a near-death experience is you are not alone. I say this all the time. It's actually not possible to be alone. But what they learn is that's like such a core component of that is that they will see their guides. They'll see their deceased loved ones. They will see a being of light. And the lesson here for them is to show them that they're never alone. They'll also, some of them, not always, and this isn't not across the board, this is what happens. Every person is different. So some people, depending on what's going on in their life, may have to experience or may experience just a little bit of a life review. And that could be one of the most famous aspects of a near-death experience, where the person sees their entire life like flash before them. And that usually helps them understand what actually matters on Earth. And what they always come back with, and I can tell you that this is from my experience as a medium, from my own experience, that it's love. Love is the only thing that is measured. When we do our life review, it's not about what did you do for a living. It's not about your job title. It's not about your social status. They could give a rat's ass. It is how much love did you give out and how much love was received. This is why we come here to Earth. And that's why even in this timeline, were we good? Were we kind? Were we helpful? Did we have compassion? That's the big thing about this, especially with what's going on now. So also, there's like a ripple effect. So a near-death experience person might have like, they might report that they had events that were maybe not seen from their own perspective, but maybe they had a near-death experience where they got to feel or see the pain they caused to others. And then also the joy that they brought others. So there's a reason. Your guides, it's a setup. If you have a near-death experience, it's a setup with your guides. You're going to learn something. It's not willy-nilly this happened. Everything is a planned event. Those are planned events. Did you plan this on the other side? Perhaps. Did your guides plan it for you? You betcha, as they say in Wisconsin. The lesson here also is that every small action matters. So let's say you might see a smile to a stranger, or you might have a harsh word to a spouse, maybe, that creates a ripple that will eventually experience yourself. So learning is the primary purpose when you have a near-death experience. So also what happens when you have a near-death experience is they will, like hardships and really challenging things in your life, they're going to be reframed for you. They're not punishments. I cannot tell you, I work with a couple of negative people that are real negative, and it's like a constant, like they're just being punished. No, you're not being punished. Earth is a curriculum, if you will, for the soul's development. That's what happens on Earth. These challenges that you have, think of it as, some people literally go to the school of hard knocks, literally, until they understand the assignment. I love it when people will say, I got the assignment, I understand. And the assignment really is to love, be positive, be a light for yourself and for others. So another lesson that you'll learn when you have if you have a near-death experience, or if you talk to anybody about it, they will understand this principle. We are all one. We are all connected. We come to Earth, it's duality. It's this versus this. It's just Earth, the way it was designed for learning. But in reality is we are all connected. So near-death experiences shatter that illusion, if you will, of separation. And it leaves the survivor of the near-death experience understanding a non-dualistic view of the soul, that we're all one. It's really important that people understand that, and they will come back talking about that probably often. They will do that. And also, the message really is often this: you're loved more than you can ever imagine, and that death is nothing to fear, and your only job on Earth is really to learn how to love one another. And, we have lots of opportunities now, right? This is big time Earth, lots of opportunities. Okay, so why does this happen? So is it a soul contract? Can be. Sometimes your guides might be like, look, we got to do something. And maybe the guides get permission or something. They go to a higher guide or higher source, if you will, to help them figure out how can we get our guy or our gal or our person that we're watching here on earth to make some changes. Do you think that if we, I can imagine how that conversation would go, but I believe that's exactly how it does go. Let's try this. Let's see if this gets them. And then there's a near-death experience. Some are planned, and some are planned by the guides. I really believe that. So it's what they call on the other side, they call it a course correction. A course correction. Okay. Like if a guide is like, oh my God, can you imagine? Like they veered so far off that path. Like I was so far off the path of this when I swear to God, my guides slammed my head into that car. I can't believe I didn't die. The way that I remember thinking when I came to, like somebody slammed my head down. And I know because they had to make a course correction fast. So there you go. Anyway, the experience is always determined by the need to realign the person with their destiny. And so that's why you have often these survivors, they drastically change their life. I drastically changed my life. I didn't have a near-death experience. I did when I was 3. I had another type of experience. But often a near-death experience or any kind of giant challenge, the survivor changes their careers, they end marriages, they become healers, things change. Now, Renee, I know you had asked me about the subject of suicide, and I think you said when you were 12 years old, you had an experience of that. And I'm going to you said you're grateful for the show tonight. You had an experience at 12 from a failed suicide attempt. Okay, so I want to talk about that because it says you've been having visions from your experience. Interesting now. So the topic of suicide and near-death experiences has been like totally misunderstood, I think, for a long time here. Because, this came up twice for me today. I had a couple of different sessions with people who had lost loved ones to suicide. And so there's no punishment in suicide. And so near-death experiences, generally what happens when somebody attempts suicide and has a near-death experience. So what happens is the myth of judgment, if you will, there's like a judgment, it's shattered. So it's contrary to the religious fears, that you're going to go to hell. No such thing. Doesn't work that way. It's non-judgmental. Perhaps you were overloaded with too many things. Perhaps you didn't feel safe where you were. There's so many things that they look at when this happens. So we don't hear about near-death experiences that any reports of, fire and brimstone or condemnation. We don't get any of that. And in fact, if anything, they might have a life review that would be different. And that might heavily focus on missed connections and the value of their own life and maybe the ripple effect. I had many people who attempted suicide that had near-death experiences that came back that said to me they were actually shown how their death would have devastated family and friends. And it's not to make them feel guilty, it's to show them how much their life mattered. So that's really important. Sometimes, often, or not often, but sometimes they have no way out. Especially at 12 years old, you don't even think a way out. You're 12. But seeing solutions, often they might be shown, if you have a near-death experience with a suicide attempt, shown that their problems were either temporary or solvable, or that there are alternative paths, if you will, that maybe you can't see through your depression. So, and often what happens in a near-death experience like that, you're sent back with a job, if you will. So near-death survivors or suicide survivors frequently report that, and I've been told this many times, that they could not stay on the other side because it wasn't their time. You couldn't leave yet. So they often return with this understanding that they can't opt out of their life lessons, that their lessons are going to be learned eventually. So they might, may as well do it now. I remember when I was in my 20s, my early 20s, and I heard a voice that said, you can do this now or you can do this later. And it was about actually meeting my first husband. And I remember it was like, what? Oh, I think I'll do it later. I mean, I remember actually thinking, but I knew I had to do it. And I got pushed again. I get pushed. That's what happens with me. I get pushed. When I'm supposed to do something, if I think even something that I don't want to do it, I'm going to get pushed. It's the damnedest thing. Anyway, so often souls will return after near-death experience with a renewed sense of a mission or a feeling that they've been given a second chance maybe to get it right. Here's another thing is what happens when there's been a suicide attempt and a near-death experience is there's a disappearance of what's really important, and that's suicidal ideation. I think it's one of the most profound clinical findings that they have. There's a man named Kenneth Ring, Dr. Kenneth Ring, and he had a study called the Kenneth Ring, and he found that suicide attempters who had a near-death experience were significantly less likely to attempt suicide again compared to any of the attempters who did not have a near-death experience. And he said because the fear of death is gone, but the desire to live is renewed. So I thought that was really, really important here. All right, so there you go with near-death experiences. It is a fascinating subject. And I did have some questions on it that I did want to answer. Before I get into the questions about that, let me just say a couple of things. I did not realize, I thought I was going away tomorrow, Friday the 30th, but it turns out I'm not going away. So I had Michelle open up 2 sessions for tomorrow. So if anybody wanted a session with me tomorrow, I think I have one at 11:30 Central Time and one at 1 p.m. Central Time. So I opened those 2 up for tomorrow. I don't know what I was thinking. I think I thought I was going away for 3 days and then I forgot about it, that I wasn't going. So anyway, we just opened up 2 sessions for tomorrow. So if you'd like a session, jump on and get that done. And I also want to say, if you are on our Destiny app this Sunday, if you're a member of our Destiny app, Whispers of the Soul, Maggie is going to be doing a live Tai Chi event at 11 o'clock Eastern time. So that's this Sunday. And I'm so excited because she's a master with this, and I'm a master teacher. And I'm so excited that she's going to be doing that. And on our Destiny app, we have a wonderful group. Please join us at any time. You learn a lot. It's a really loving group, very kind, a lot of compassion, a lot of knowledge. It's just, I so look forward to it. It's called 5 o'clock somewhere, and you can find that on my website. And February 7th, I have an upcoming live Zoom, Sacred Spaces. Perfect timing for this. It's feng shui. I'm doing this with Julianne Siegel, and it's a 2-hour class, and we're going to explore feng shui principles, how to bring peace and clarity and momentum into your home and your workspace. She's really a master at feng shui. So please join us, because we're going to be talking about what to do about the year of the fire horse too. That's February 7th, a week from this Saturday. February 17th, I start my new show with Dr. Shirley. It's called Psychology and the Soul, a space where psychology and spirituality, we meet in an awakened state of awareness. So I'm really excited about that, because we're going to be talking about mental health, the challenges of what's going on every week, every day, every hour. We're hearing some horror and trauma, and we're going to talk about how to get through these times. Okay, so I think it's going to be really important. And then on the 14th of March, I have an online class of wisdom and healing for the empathic soul. So join me. You can go to my website and check out all my classes and everything that I have coming up. So questions. Laura Crum says, Kelly, she said, they say that near-death experience, one gains a spiritual awakening after. Yes, they do. Absolutely, they do. Now, she says, is there any truth to emergent dualism with near-death experience and the linkage to spirituality and science? So there isn't it's how do I explain this? There isn't a definitive truth, Laura, for this. And so a duality is science versus spirituality, basically, with near death. It's because, it's funny. Near death experiences are so subjective that I don't know how they would prove them, other than I know that when I had mine, I know exactly what I had, and everybody who's had that. And even though they go across the board, there's no definitive truth probably that would satisfy everyone. Instead, it's rather like an ongoing debate, if you will. And I love to hear the debates on all of them, but for me, I'm a spiritualist and I know what I know. But because there's lack of empirical proof, um, it makes it a little tough, honey, to talk about the duality with it. And I would think that with an advancement of spirituality and science, that maybe we'll get there. I don't know. Earth is duality. Earth itself is duality. It's this and or that. So trying to put it together, I hope so. I love it when this happens to scientists when they have a near-death experience. I think, what's her name? Dr. Jill Bolte. If you haven't seen her stuff on YouTube, she did. She's amazing. I think she had a stroke and she had a near-death experience and a stroke. Oh my God. Look her up, Dr. Jill Bolte. She was amazing. So Melissa says, is it true that while we do not explicitly analyze scientific studies, yes, we frequently discuss, instead we talk about the concept of the soul. And Sherry Kraft says, when I was small, I drowned. I do not remember the other side. I only remember sitting on the bottom of the pool and then the lifeguard on the deck. So what do children so small get out of a near-death experience? Well, Sherry, that's why I was talking about my near-death experience at 3. I remembered it all. I know exactly what happened. But the question for you is, and I guess Carolyn Mumolo, we loved Carolyn, and sadly she passed away a couple of years ago. Wonderful medium. And she said that was one of the questions I guess that you had asked her. But yeah, this is a lot of near-death experience. We come back with a lot of gifts. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. So Deborah Boswell says, Kellee, what do you do when your husband is a hoarder? Okay. He needs to have a near-death experience. Maybe that would stop him. Just kidding. I have a corner that is mine. I have been housebound for 7 years because of very bad health. My husband helps to take care of me. So how does this work for me? How do I get help? Well, first of all, Deborah, thanks for reaching out. I mean, it's an incredibly complex, challenging situation that you have going. And there's emotional components of it. There's a practical component about it, and frankly, safety concerns. And it's totally understandable that you would feel overwhelmed and probably frustrated and all of the things that come with this. But from your husband's side, hoarding actually is a symptom of like deep emotional pain and fear and struggle with loss or security. So it's not necessarily a malicious act directed at somebody. But still, this is a big one. And practical advice probably that I could say here is that have you spoken to a social worker or a medical professional or any trusted friends or families that could help you with this? And there are hoarding specialists that do family sessions. So I would probably encourage you to speak to a physician or an in-home medical professional. And hopefully that would get some movement in it. So that's a tough situation, but you definitely need help there. And finally, Jean says, Kellee, I couldn't make tonight's show, but I had a near-death experience at the age of 20. And I can remember as if it were last night, right, Jean? You can remember it completely. She says, mine was short and simple, but I did get to experience the unconditional love and pure bliss. And that's really what it feels like. I saw a light. I crossed a walkway bridge heading toward a beautiful angel. It didn't last long. Then the light went out and I heard a voice, you have to return. So that is so happens, so right on, Jean. You have to return. That's what they said to me. It's like, you got to go back. Your mother's destiny will not be fulfilled. You got to go. And I'm like, no, please let me in. No, you have to return. And yes, you said you're not happy to return, but since that day you never feared death and you realize it will cross over when the right time for our soul is, and you're patiently waiting, right? I mean, it does make you view things completely differently. And you finally got to see beautiful noise. Yeah, it was, that's an amazing play. It's one of my very favorite plays ever. So that was great, Jean. And Jean, I'll be reaching out to you for some more lemons. Hi Scott. Hi everybody. Laura Crum, can you have a card for your daughter? You betcha, honey. Let's get an angel card for her. Ooh, 616 sanctuary. So she needs a lovely sanctuary right now. Place that she can be herself and be still. Oh, thank you. Those are my tulips. I love those. Oh my gosh. Hi everybody. Thank you so much. Okay, Lori Sherbert says, Kelly, do you have any messages for me on anything? Let's do this. Let's get you a card. Ooh, 1144, leveling up. I guess that means you're taking the next leap of faith out there. And Laura Cupcake says, in Ohio, it's freezing there too, right? Oh my gosh. Okay, Marianne Critchlow Cook. She says, my birthday is February 24th. Can you have a card? Yes, I'm going to get you a card. Let me say this. Your birthday is in between two eclipses. So if your birthday, anybody, the first eclipse is February 17. The second eclipse is it happens March 2nd into the evening or into the morning of March 3rd. So we'll call it March 2nd and 3rd. Makes it a little trickier. However, if your birthday is in between that, I can tell you there'll be a great deal of change. So eclipses, and we're now in the eclipse energy. If it doesn't feel intense enough for you, it will. It'll start really ramping up with the intensity, especially after this deep full moon on Sunday. But I'm going to get you a card. I just want you to know that I would think there'd be a lot of change for you. And the 24th is an Ace of Diamonds. Ace of Diamonds, I noticed a lot of Ace of Diamonds this year making a lot of change. Ace of Diamonds is, sometimes we call it for love or for money. It's hard to do both with them. But they come in often with great financial and creative brains. But let me get you a card. Ooh, 2134, achievement. So it's all about achievement. You'll probably achieve an awful lot this year. Barbara says, thanks for making my week with the reading. You're so welcome, Barbara. It was lovely to see you. And again, everybody, I think I have 2 openings for tomorrow. And I also have my schedule open, my calendar. I only open my calendar once a month. Like I open it, I'll open March, like mid-February or something. I only go 1 month out. So anyway, it's open right now. Okay, Vivian. Hi, Vivian from Ontario. Let's see. Patty Sotomora says, Kelly, I said something to someone, not realizing I hurt their feelings. I did sincerely apologize. Will she forgive me? I just felt terrible. Yes, she will, Patty. And here's the thing. You know how you felt terrible. It was a mistake. We're all human. I say things. Everybody has human moments. We're human. We're going to do our best. But what is important here, Patty, is that you realize it. And if you can sincerely apologize, I can't tell you how healing that is. To get a real sincere apology, some people just like brush it off or they, whatever. When you really attune to somebody and really apologize, it makes all the difference in the world. And I'm sorry you're feeling terrible about it, Patty. It's going to be okay, sweetheart. God bless you. Let me get you a card, Patty. Hold on a minute. 11, awaken. All right. So you've already, you've done your apologies. Now awaken, and you don't need to punish yourself anymore. Okay. Patty Weeks, it's 80 degrees in California. I know. I heard from my sister today. Thank you very much. But we're having a high today of 5. So there you go. Hi, Christy. Hi, Melanie. She says, I've always enjoyed your live shows. Thank you. It's been a rough few years. Do I have a message from your fur baby, AJ, who passed away in July? He couldn't walk as a senior dog, but he had such a will to live and never complained and was an angel to the end. I'm struggling with euthanasia remorse. Okay, Melanie, I don't get at all that you need to suffer from euthanasia remorse. I don't hear that in his voice. I hear it was my time to go. You did him a favor. It was time. He's always around you. I think this one loves you. He would have struggled to be with you. You did the right thing. Okay. We all listen. I'm going through a lot with my dog, although she is Charlotte. I can't get over how good she's doing. I cannot get over it. And a shout out to you, Judy Friedman. I swear to God, Judy, you are an angel on earth helping Charlotte with all of everything that you've been doing. She's doing really well. My dog Charlotte. Now, I know that there'll be a time, and that's a struggle. It's a struggle thing with when is it time to do this and when is it time not to do it and when is it time. They usually let you know. And my sense with AJ is he let you know, honey. Sherry Abdul, what a great question. Hi, Sherry. How are you, honey? She says, Kellee, do you think pets have exit points? Oh, you betcha they do. They do. And sometimes they'll like push the limit on it. But yeah, they have exit points. Yes, they do. They absolutely do. Good question, though. And don't forget, our animals have guides as well. Always important. So Dina Moody says, Kellee, is that saying that a cat has 9 lives? Do they have 9 exit points? So this sounds funny, Dina, but I almost mentioned this when I was talking about my dad. His last name was Katzman. And he literally had at least 9 exit points. I know I said 15. It's probably a bit of an exaggeration. But he had at least 9. And I was thinking, we choose our name. We choose everything before we come in. Cats, notoriously, they say, have 9 lives. Yeah, they probably do have 9 exit points. Probably. Makes you think, doesn't it? Hi, Sasha. It says, blessings. Thanks for sharing tonight's message. You're so welcome. In this time in history, your words are well needed. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, Sasha. This is a very powerful time. Don't think your presence on earth is not important. Everybody that's here is a light worker. And your job is to bring light wherever it happens to be needed. Whether you're sitting in a prayer, sending out light, whether you're out actively helping on the scenes, whatever you're doing, okay? This is the most important timeline. And everybody that signed up wanted to be here for this timeline because you'll be able to make different choices. How do you respond? Did you learn something? Did you learn compassion, kindness? Were you helpful? Were you a nightmare? Again, everybody has to do their own life review. Think about it like that. Think about that. Okay. Laura says, great question, Laura. Does free will have any part of our exit points? Yes, and then no. So it goes like this. Yes, on Earth we have free will. We also, it's a game. It's a complicated game, this Earth. I think I know how to play it, and then every time I think I know, it gets changed again. So they change the rules. So we will have, let's say we have 3 exit points, and the free will might be, I don't want to die this one. This is not my exit point. That you may get that because of free will, but ultimately there's an exit point. Ultimately, But really, really good question. I think that's such a good question here. Everybody's saying happy birthday to you, Renee. So Nadia says, Kellee, are you and James not doing your lives together anymore? I love your conversations. Thank you so much. No, James and I are no longer doing our lives together. He's doing his TikTok on Mondays, I think at noon or 2 p.m. I honestly don't remember. And it's live on TikTok. So he's going in that direction and he's teaching. He's got all of these things. We're still deeply close and he's just doing his thing. And he'll come back and we'll do our things together when we do our, talk about the year, what's going to go on. We'll do our predictions. We'll be doing that live together. And I'm sure we have other things that we're going to do live together. But instead, Nadia, I'll be doing a show with Dr. Shirley and Pellizzari, and it will have psychological aspects to it. So I'm excited about all of it, right? Yeah, Addie says, buckle up. Yes, in Minnesota, and all out buckles, right? All out buckles. Absolutely. And send light everywhere, particularly in that area. Particularly. Hi, Debbie Jones. How are you, honey? Hi, everybody from Japan. Mari from Japan. Okay, Evie says, Kellee, I know that every time the moon is full, I barely can't sleep. Yeah, because there's so much light pouring in and energy. So maybe meditate before. Again, I have a video going out tomorrow that I have 7 things to do about this particular full moon. And I assure you, I will be doing those 7 things because it is going to be a big time. Right in, Margaret? Yeah, shadow work. This Sunday, shadow work. Oh, my God. So good for you. I mean, really go in and look at those aspects of yourself that maybe you've been afraid to look at or didn't want to look at. And we're human. So Everybody's got shadow work to do. We're human, you know? It's just how that works. Okay. Kelly says, I can't, am I constantly dreaming about it and I can't see their face? Who am I dreaming of? Oh, I have no idea. Could be a guide, could be a relative. I don't know, Kelly. Cheryl Anderson's, Kelly, my anxiety is at an all-time high for some reason. And your birthday is February 17. All right, Cheryl. So your birthday is on the eclipse. So I'm wondering, yeah, I'll get you a card, honey. I'm just wondering if you're anxious, if you're feeling this powerful shift. So if your birthday is February 17, and February 17th is also the Chinese New Year day, the year of the fire horse. This is such a powerful, powerful time period. Oh my gosh. And you're an 8 of diamonds. So powerful, Cheryl. I'm wondering, and this will probably be a year where you step into your power. And I wonder if that has you anxious, stepping into your power. Things will look different. And are you afraid of change and movement? The energy. So what happens on Earth is your soul comes here and you'll get pushed to change. You can't stay the same. And so sometimes we get anxious about the future, what we don't know, and we futurize, and it makes us really anxious. Stay in the present moment. Definitely get really grounded in this full moon on Sunday and start practicing that deep meditations. If you can't just meditate, then do a guided meditation. There are plenty of them out there, guided meditations for you. And breathe and make sure, I am fine. I feel good. I am strong. I was built for this time. That's a good one. I told somebody that one today, and it's a really good one. It's like a micro one that you can just say, I am built for this time. I was built for this time. And it's true. I know I was. And here you go, Cheryl. Okay, Cheryl, get a picture of this. 444 protection. How great is that? You've got angels all around you, my dear. Not to worry for 2 seconds. There you go. That's a great one. Okay, Joanne Steiger says, good evening. I had a head-on vehicle accident in 2019. I'm so sorry. Things happen. Things do happen. Now, Joanne, did you have a near-death experience with that? Did it change your life? It's pretty traumatic. Hi, Jen Tran. How are you, honey? I know you had some health issues. Let me get you a card. 22. And as I recall, Jen, I think you are a 22. You're a master. Here you go. Harmony, honey. I send you a lot of peace and love. And I hope you're feeling better. Okay. Edith says, I'm Cancer too. So anybody who is a true Cancer, Cancer moon, Cancer rising, Cancer sun, they're going to feel this big energy. Definitely feel about this energy. Oh my God, it's a big one. Oh, thank you, Maura. Hey, Rita, how are you, my friend? I was thinking about you today, honey. Hi, Ann Tremblay. She says, I read Michael Newton's book about near-death experience. Any suggestion of other good authors on that subject? I will say this is a great book, and I think she does talk about this, but Michael Newton's partner, who I just adore, Dr. Linda Backman, and she wrote Soul Design. And it's so, so good. If you've not read Soul Design by Dr. Linda Backman, it's one of my favorite books. And she talks about past lives and the origins and the purpose. And she was Michael Newton's partner. So I would definitely look at her book. She has a lot to say. Joanne says, children understand so much emotionally. Yes, they do, right? You were graduate studies in early childhood education, right? There you go. Let's see. So Rick East, hey Rick, he says, I have never had a near-death experience, but I have had a TSA and felt in between in consciousness and felt a calmness during the event. There you go. So, feeling that calmness is also kind of similar to a near-death in that calmness and that peace. Okay, that is really important. Renee says, Kelly, I love you, Kelly, and always look forward to your kind words of wisdom. You give me hope as my state of Minnesota is going through so much. I have good friends that have sent me emails about what's going on. I know what's going on. And this is what I've said to them, and this is what I will say. They will come out of that. They will come out. There's an end to that. There is an end to that, Renee. But I send so much love and support out there. Okay. Lisa says the near-death or death experience of coming back can also ripple out to create believers. 100%. You know, what was that? What was his name? Was it Doubting Thomas? Wasn't he one of the disciples? You know, and then he had his experience and it was like, oh my God, he couldn't tell enough people. So we have two types of people: the kinds that are the blabbermouths that go out like me, or the ones like my client's boyfriend, who was like almost, I don't know if he was embarrassed. I don't know if he was ashamed. He would tell certain people what happened, that he saw Jesus. And so anyway, yeah, but I love the ripple effect, Lisa, of when it goes out like that. I absolutely love it. Okay, hi, Jen Gurn. She says, Kelly, I cannot imagine February energy is going to be crazier than January. I know, honey, you have had this poor gal. She lost 2 husbands and a dear friend all within less than a year, I think, 6 months, Jen. I mean, it was something really crazy. She said, my first real estate transaction seems like it's falling apart. I wish I had my husband's guidance right now. I just heard him say it will come back together, Jen. I just heard him say that. And here we go. 1221, symbiosis. So symbiosis is when you're really attached to somebody. No, he's going to help you, honey. He's going to help you, Jen. You wait, okay? You just wait about it. Just wait. Okay. Yeah, crazy dreams. A lot of people will be having crazy dreams. Okay. That is very true. Okay. Melissa says, oh, you had a blood infection and a near-death experience and you started talking to God. Okay. And people thought you were seeing things. Yeah. That happens too. Oh my gosh. I am staying home Rita says, I'm staying home warm at home. She says, it's cold here in Indiana. And you're telling me that you have an exit point coming in less than 2 years ago. Yeah, Rita. That makes sense, Rita. Hey, Patrick Brissot, how are you, honey? From France? Are you in Paris now? Are you in Beverly Hills? Where are you? You're like Waldo. You go all over the world. And he's incredible. You should go follow him, everybody. Patrice Brissot. He's fabulous. Fabulous. Everything. Just go check him out. Oh my gosh. Patty says, so understand when my dad woke up from a coma, he told my mom that his mom wouldn't open the door. That's the truth. He kept asking, why wouldn't she open the door? And then he saw St. Jude. So it's true. If you have a saint or somebody that you're wanting to be with, or you're really close to, that will happen too. That'll happen too. How interesting. Christy says, Kelly, I've studied near-death experience and watched as many stories as I can to help me understand what Abby went through when she passed. I wish she could have had the choice to stay, but maybe she did. Christy, I got it. It was it was my time, Mom. I literally just heard it was my time, Mom. And I appreciate what you're saying as a mother, and I understand what she's saying. She's also telling me you may not understand it now, but you will know in time. It was her choice to leave at that time. Please know that. Let's get you a card. Let's get you a card from her, okay? I know you missed your daughter. It's really hard to lose a child. It's impossible. It's actually impossible. Okay, here we get you a card, honey. If I had only known what I know now, I would have lived differently. I wonder what that means. She would have lived differently. Maybe she would have made some different choices. I don't know. I don't know what she would have done differently. But I do know that Disneyland is really big for her. That I do know. Okay. Anyway, let's see. Let us see here. Charlene says, been pulling weeds and it felt great being outside. Any chance of getting a card? I just had a big birthday, 65. Yay. Okay. Whoops. Let's get you a card. 1414. Adventure, Charlene. Adventure time. Time for adventures. I love that word, adventure. It's like my favorite. Debbie says, connection not good tonight. For some reason, going in and out. Oh, I don't know why, Debbie. Hope you're doing okay. I hope that you're there. Yay, I'm here, Ann Margaret. I am here. Okay, Lisa Marshall says, when I was 8, my mom's boyfriend had a massive heart attack in front of me. Oh my God, I watched him go completely gray and ran to a neighbor's house. The ambulance came and he survived. This was in the 70s. I'll never forget this experience and often wonder the spiritual aspect of it for you. Oh, Lisa, that would have been so traumatic at 8 years old that happened in front of you. That would be wildly traumatic here. Now, from a spiritual standpoint, you were shown an awful lot with that one. Did it change the way you thought about life and death? Did it put fear into you at 8 years old? Because some people come in to experience fear and then understand that fear doesn't exist. Like they test themselves. I wonder what that is. That would be so interesting. Anyway, well, everybody, I've come to an end. So join me on, join me next week, next Thursday. And again, I think I have 2 sessions open for tomorrow if anybody would like a session. And I look forward to doing all of the astrology next week. But don't forget, this Sunday, we've got, join Michelle. Would you put your information up, Michelle, of Snowy White, to how people could find you? Because I tell you, if you can find her on Snowy White Intuitive, I think, on Facebook, she's so good. Snowy White Owl on Intuitive, she's so good. And join me at kelleewhite.com and see what's going on. And I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Lots of love and light out to everybody.
You've been listening to Ask Me Anything, featuring spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.